Today's dedication is for Terax, who gave me a very generous 1 year's worth of subscriptions on Patreon. Skrelv versus Nath of the Gilt-Leaf. And we've got, a couple of lands. We can ramp into some decent stuff there, I think. Yeah, we'll cobble something together. We're on the draw. Thoughtseize from my opponent. Don't think it really matters what they take here. Deciding to take Enlightened Tutor away from us. And we draw into a Prismatic Vista. So we'll just go for the Skrelv first of all. And then a Worldly Tutor during the main phase for our opponent. Tutoring out a Priest of Titania. Gets us into another Plains, so I think we're fine just going for the Stoneforge Mystic here. I'll swing in with the Skrelv first and we'll get this Toxic on the go. So dealing the first bit of poison damage to our opponent, and we'll get out the Stoneforge Mystic and search for an equipment. And I think it's fine going for the Grafted Exoskeleton here. That's what we're going to go for most of the time with Stoneforge Mystic, because this can cheat it out for only 2 mana. Priest of Titania entering play during our opponent's turn. Alright, and there's a Mana Crypt, so we can make Metalcraft at this point then. Drop the Ancient Tomb, drop the Mana Crypt, and the Metalcraft is relevant because of Auriok Edgewright. That will have double strike, and we do have quite a few double strikers in the deck, which obviously goes well with Infect and Toxic. So we can get down the Auriok Edgewright here, and just hard casting the Grafted Exoskeleton is fine, I think. Then Phyrexian White Mana can go into giving Stoneforge Mystic protection from green and Toxic 1. So then we swing in at our opponent and deal a second poison damage to them. Alright, so now challenging my opponent to have a means of getting rid of the Edgewright, because otherwise we'll be able to swing straight through for lethal here. Go down to 33. Let's get another Plains into play. And then we'll equip up the Edgewright with the Grafted Exoskeleton. That makes this a 4-4 with double strike and infect, so obviously looking to deal 8 infect damage to my opponent. And I think we just go through to the attack here. We could obviously make it unblockable with the Skrelv, but I think they're holding up some interaction here, so I'd rather force them to use it or chump with the Priest of Titania. Alright, but just deciding to let it through, so if they go for the Assassin's Trophy, okay, doing it onto the Grafted Exoskeleton, so that means that they are going to get us with the Auriok Edgewright as well, because when this gets unattached it will sacrifice that. And that's a shame. We will get to ramp a little bit here at least. I was hoping that I could hold up protection for the Edgewright, of course, but now that being sacrificed, I'll go through to the second main phase. Let's just make a Norn's Choirmaster. Might as well drop the Mother of Runes as well. It is playing into a board wipe, but we can hopefully start piling on the Toxic onto our opponent. Our opponent's down to 1 card. But that 1 card is a Grim Tutor, annoyingly, so could refill their hand straight away. Just had all the interaction and very little in the ways of Elf Tribal. So it's not looking too good for us. We just draw into another land, so play the Plains straight away. And then we can give Norn's Choirmaster Toxic, because that will land 5 points of damage as well, just in case the life is relevant. So give that protection from green and it can fly straight over anyway. And our opponent went for the board wipe with the Tutor, so they do have 1 other card in hand, wrapping up their Priest of Titania with it at least. But yeah, just having all the answers for us, unfortunately. Need to start drawing into something other than lands, really. Okay, a Manifold Key isn't as useful when we don't have any other creatures on the board, because what we can do with Manifold Key is untap our commander and give multiple creatures Toxic. But yeah, anyway, we'll just have to go empty-handed here, drop the Manifold Key. Can at least make our commander unblockable with the Manifold Key. That does give a creature unblockable for a turn for 3 mana and a tap, so be able to do a little bit of something, but I was hoping to land damage on our opponent with the Grafted Exoskeleton. Just so happens our opponent had answers to absolutely everything. Nath isn't necessarily all that worrisome if we can just get out whatever we play into here. Yep, and just drawing into lands, so don't want to discard it and give our opponent an elf token, so just go empty-handed. Skrelv can be unblockable to the Manifold Key. We'll continue to limp up this poison damage. I was hoping the deck would be a lot faster than this. The Lair of the Hydra going to try and outrace us. A couple of 4-4s swinging in. And if we're going to keep drawing into lands here, then it's not looking good for us. We also lose the Mana Crypt flip, which pretty much sums up this game. And yeah, getting to our land, so pretty much looking like we're going to lose this one. Yeah, we can swing in, can't we? Just swinging in with the 4/4 this time. And then during the blocking phase doing something, so this is probably a buff on the Nath. It is a Hatred, so going for the one shot there. They take themselves down to 9, and it is 21 points of commander damage from the Nath, so yeah, I mean, they just had absolutely everything they needed there, including a couple of tutors, and yeah, we were just flooded. Won't show us what card we were drawing into, but I'm sure it was just a basic Plains. We'll try again, because I've got higher hopes with this deck than that. Skrelv versus Kyoda. I don't think I've ever faced off against this commander. Looking at our hand, we've got potentially a good curve if we can get into lands. Just one more will do. Starting off with our commander, as we will 99% of the time. And our opponent throws down a Mosswort Bridge. And we get into a Lost Leonin, which is even better than the Ika Claw Mir, so we'll get the Infect creature down. Infect and Toxic does stack, so we'll be looking to swing in with that next turn. As for now, we'll deal a Toxic damage to our opponent. Alright, a Grateful Apparition isn't a bad thing to be playing either, so go for the life into Skrelv. The life is really a difference maker in this deck. We'll protect against green is the only thing our opponent can do anything with. And then we'll swing in, and this is 2 Infect damage and 1 Toxic damage. So they'll go up to 4 straight away. And then we can end the turn with a Grateful Apparition, so that will obviously proliferate next turn and put another poison counter on our opponent. Our opponent not doing too well on lands here. Hopefully this is a Cultivate or something. That is a Fight Rigging. So hide away 5 and put in a mystery card under there. Okay, so if we got into a land there, it could have been Duelist Heritage and could have had our opponent here, I think. But our opponent just decides to scoop there. We swing in with the Skrelv and the Lost Leonin, so that is 3 points of Infect damage, and then we'll put them on 8 points of Infect with the Grateful Apparition. So yeah, if our opponent's not drawing into anything, then it's likely that we get them next turn. Maybe just play out the Ika Claw Mir this turn, although it's probably best to just not play anything at all, to be honest, in case they get into a board wipe. But a board wipe would have probably had to have been Urborg into a Damnation or something. Pretty one-sided, so we'll play another one. Deciding on another rematch with my opponent, we will keep a 2-lander again. Our opponent's on the play this time. You see Amulet of Vigor from our opponent, and that is an Ancient Den, so just in case the Metalcraft matters, we'll get down the Ancient Den into our commander. Yavimaya from our opponent, so definitely has the green mana fixed. And alright, there's a Mother of Runes, so we've got that cycle on the go here. I think it's best to go for the Stoneforge Mystic here. And we can shoot her up, well, something else. Normally it will be the Grafted Exoskeleton, because we can cheat that in for only 2 mana, but obviously we've got that in hand, so we'll try something else. Maybe the Sword of Truth and Justice is alright. Although, yeah, Prosthetic Injector is easier here because we don't have too much mana at the moment, so I'll just grab that instead. And then we swing in at our opponent on turn 2. And then it's Yavimaya Hollow from our opponent. Our opponent seems to have a lot of colourless lands in this deck. So not having the best of luck, we draw into Akroma's Will. So it is a Plains, and Voltaic Key could give the Stoneforge Mystic Toxic 1 twice. So it's probably a good thing to have in play. We'll put the 2 life into it, just to save on mana. So Toxic 1 protection from green, and then untap with the Voltaic Key. Our commander is an artifact, so put the 2 life into it again, and give protection from a different colour this time. And then we're fine just getting down the Mother of Runes, I think, to get Summoning Sickness away from that. And then we swing in at our opponent, and it's Toxic 1 twice, so 2 points of poison damage onto our opponent, puts them at 3. Then we see Cavern of Souls from our opponent, which can add any mana for dragons, so they're going for maybe a dragon build, but getting down Kyodai anyway. And it looks like our opponent's up to something tricksy, giving the Yavimaya Hollow indestructible with the commander. We draw into Ancient Tombs, so drop that straight away. And then I'm going to activate the Stoneforge Mystic. We'll get down and equip the Grafted Exoskeleton here. So that comes down quite easily, and then we can put the Grafted Exoskeleton onto Mother of Runes. So that gets +2/+2 and infect, so it's a 3/3 infector at the moment. And then it can be Skrelv putting Toxic 1 onto it twice. So we'll pay the life here as well, definitely give protection from white so that we can swing straight through our opponent. Untap the Skrelv and do it again. Alright, so now we're looking to put 5 points of infect damage on our opponent. And I think all we have to do is have our creatures stick next turn because we're going for Akroma's Will most likely. Yeah, another colourless land. Our opponent's gone really heavy on those. Yeah, the problem now is we've got Mystify Maze to worry about, so they could get rid of a creature with that. So now we have to diversify a bit. Glad I went for the Prosthetic Ingester now. Get down at Prosthetic Ingester. Throw that onto the Stoneforge Mystic, so that's Toxic 1 on there. And we can put effectively Toxic 2 onto the Stoneforge Mystic with life and give it protection from white. And then we will untap the Commander. Voltaic Key's done a hell of a lot of work for us this game. And we'll do the same thing onto Mother of Runes so that both of these can get through to the Kyodai and deal the last bits of infect to our opponent. So obviously they can exile one with Mystifying Maze, but we go wide on them here. So swinging in, can't block with the Commander. And yeah, they're not even going to bother with the Mystifying Maze, so it's good gain to my opponent. He did say in the chat that he's just testing out a deck here. This player is always a really good sport and comes up with really creative decks. So obviously a mixed matched game while he's testing this deck out. But it shows you what Skrelv can do at least. So hopefully you all enjoyed it. We had a one-sided game, once in our favour and once in our opponent's favour as well. If you did enjoy it, then please be sure to leave a thumbs up on the video and consider donating on Patreon as well via the link in the description below. I'm Tribal Kai. Thank you for watching.